Time is 5 p.m. We will now call this regular public meeting of the Board of Trustees of Humboldt Independent School District to order. Moving to our first item of business, closed session. A closed session of the board will now be held on the matters contained in the notice for this meeting. Should the board determine that any final action, final decision, or final vote be required with regard to any matter considered in such closed session, then such final action, final decision, or final vote will be made upon reconvening of this public meeting in open session. The time is 5:01 p.m. We're now going to closed session. The time is 6:02. We will now reconvene into open session. Thank you for joining us tonight. Reminder that meetings of the board are open to the public but are not a meeting of the public. The Humboldt ISD Board of Trustees meet monthly in regular meeting to receive reports from staff and take action from recommendations from the superintendent. There are students and other guests present. To maintain decorum, respectful behavior is expected. Disruptive behavior and/or comments would not be allowed. With that, our first item. I would ask everyone, if able, to please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Please be seated. Okay, the next item is public comment. We are scheduled for 5 speakers. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. Can I ask Ms. Deanie Allen, Mr. Scott Ford, and Ms. Leslie Nicholson to come forward? Ms. Deanie Allen, you're first.
I am Deanie Allen, retired Humboldt ISD teacher. Question: why are the meetings of the Special Education Committee of this school board closed to the public? I have a list of all the committees this year. Many of the committees are open to the public, but the Special Ed Committee is closed to the public. You know, at election time, you talked about transparency, accountability. So I want to know, why can't the parents of students in special ed attend the meetings about special ed? Every student in special ed has an IEP. An IEP is an individualized education plan. You could call it a personalized roadmap that outlines learning goals, supports, and services that the public school will provide to help the student succeed. Yet sometimes the services that are promised are not provided. Sometimes other students are physically harmed when a student with extremely challenging behavior does not have the one-on-one adult supervision that the school promised with written signatures at the ARD meeting. And the district has sometimes responded at a snail's pace when a parent voices concerns. However, I do want to congratulate the board on your decision to review special ed services. Stetson and Associates will provide a review of the special ed services for a fee of $175,000. It's on tonight's budget amendment. Other districts have published the full review, including areas of strength of this program and areas of concern, and they've published it on the internet for everyone to see. You know, we can't improve until we admit where we are. So please, share the full report from Stetson and Associates with the community. It's the taxpayers' $175,000.
Mr. Ford.
Heard that in the back row. Scott Ford, author, professor. For the record, this is all to go on the record, so we're recording this. The open records request 2026-307's come in, not to its completion, however, and information that's being found out is troubling. In another open records request, we found out that Humble ISD, with 5 huge high schools, only had 23 IT certifications last school year, when I got about 30 before Christmas break my last year here. I'm on the record multiple times offering my resources for absolute nothing, free to this district. And they have been turned down. Actually, I don't say they're turned down because nobody ever responded to me, but you decided not to use it. What's particularly troubling, in the 2,000 plus pages that was released to me, the wonders of AI, I fed the entire thing into ChatGPT, actually a GPT that was custom made. I sent all of you a link. It has the raw data in it. Nothing's been edited. It's been sent directly from what was sent to me. And there's a troubling thing here where the new computer teacher says in an email, I know we spoke in the past about not directly speaking with Mr. Ford, and I have remained true to that. So somebody in this district gave the order to the computer teacher at Atascocita High School. They were not to talk to me in any shape, way, or form. I also have a text message that I sent to Will Faulkner, principal of Atascocita High School, saying, hey, I'm doing Surtober. I've got all these free resources. Can I give them to your computer teacher? And Will, in that text message, replied to me saying he's going to check with the higher ups. Well, question, who's higher up than a building principal of a high school? I think they're all in this room. Accountability, folks, is finding out who gave that directive and having a conversation with them. This case is not closed. I'm still waiting for a formal answer. And let me leave you with this one final thought. In my year of leaving this district, I am consulting with 2 universities in the state of Texas. I am consulting with a university ranked in the top 20 globally based out of Australia. I am consulting with a college. I am a guest speaker for We Teach. I am a consultant for an education and training company that's nationally known. I am in your backyard offering my help for free, and based on your results, you need it.
Ms. Nicholson.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Leslie Nicholson. I've dedicated my career in Humble ISD to our students as a librarian and now as your coordinator of library services, supporting our 48 libraries. I'm here tonight to share what the work is that we are doing in Humble ISD as librarians. The staff who serve our libraries are trained professionals. Many have advanced degrees in library science or classroom experience. Some have education masters, and we also have ongoing training in our district policies and the thoughtful process of selecting books for students. Selecting books for a school library is a professional responsibility that involves careful review, collaboration, and adherence to the policy. Our purpose has always been to help children become lifelong readers. Every child who discovers a book that they love, they gain something valuable, because reading builds vocabulary, it builds comprehension, critical thinking, empathy, and a lifelong love of learning. Even books that are read simply for enjoyment have value, because they are often that first step towards creating a lifelong reader. Helping children become readers isn't separate from our policy, it's at the heart of the policy. The Humble ISD collection development policy directs the librarians to select age-appropriate materials while considering our students' varied interests, their maturity levels, their abilities, and their learning styles. The policy also tells us that we need to foster literacy appreciation. We need to encourage high-level thinking, and the policy tells us to encourage the enjoyment of reading. It also directs us to present multiple viewpoints and represent the diverse backgrounds of the students that we serve. For many of the children, the library in our school is the only library that they access easily. That's why a careful, thoughtful collection development matters. Every day, our librarians work to connect our students with the books that educate them, that inspire them, that support their learning while reflecting the needs of the communities we serve. So at a time when we are seeing reading achievement declining and fewer kids are even wanting to read for pleasure, the libraries need to be part of this solution. So as you continue the important work of your school library advisory council, I respectfully ask that you please include practicing librarians as non-voting members of the committee, because the authority and the responsibility for the decisions rightly belongs to the board. The request is simply to contribute our professional knowledge, our day-to-day experience that comes from working directly with the students, with the teachers, with the families, and with those library collections. And just as you as a board rely on the expertise of educators in other areas, I hope that you will consider adding the practicing librarians to that committee so that they can benefit from the perspective of the professionals who do that work every day. Thanks.
Ms. Williams and Ms. Green, would you come down forward too, please? But Ms. Williams, it's your turn.
Good evening. I am Michelle Williams. I'm candidate for state representative. Tonight I want to talk about your policies in dismissing personnel. Courtney Lindsay is on your agenda. I represented her in 2 grievances. What I do understand about Humble ISD is that you all don't understand that there are laws and policies that need to be followed. That's what I understand. Some of your administrators are bullies. They tell falsehoods on their staff and their teachers. I have seen what your HR department does. It's egregious. Also, I represent a parent who has a level 2 grievance, because y'all like to air out grievances. So I might as well speak on it here. She had a level 2 hearing officer. They asked for an extension. The level 2 hearing officer disappears 7 days later. The decision is due on the 16th. I get a new level 2 hearing officer today. Again, Humble ISD does not understand that there are laws and policies. There are consequences for your actions. Consequences. There are going to be 4 consequences in May. I will flip the state representative seat, and there will be change in Humble ISD. If I don't get a fair shot with this student that you all are trying to railroad, Humble High School principal, breaking laws, this child does not have a disciplinary record, and your high school is trying to send her to DAEP for 180 days. She had one fight that she got hit in the head from behind as she was walking away. And your high school principal, I filed a level 1 against her, still wants to uphold a principal that was there as a witness and also wants to serve as the disciplinary hearing officer. I don't understand. I don't know if literacy levels are low. You cannot be a witness and the disciplinary hearing officer. You cannot extend the school year unless you all say on record that that child is a threat. Again, there are laws, there are policies. You all don't follow them. But May, there will be a new day because it's going to be 4 new trustees, and then these parents and these children can have a better board in Humble ISD.
Ms. Green.
Good evening. My name is Erin Green. Currently, large hyperscale data centers are being constructed all over the country. Abilene, Texas has one of the largest data centers in the nation. There is a data center being built on Lake Houston Parkway not far from here. Data centers have been around since the 1990s and have become more and more severe. The most concerning issue about data centers is the health issues among our most fragile populations and destruction of the land and wildlife surrounding the center. According to Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath, a cognitive neuroscientist, children are less cognitively capable than their parents due to the fact that education uses computers in the classroom. Studies in more than 80 countries have discovered that students who use the computer over 5 hours a day to learn test lower cognitively on tests than in the past. Yet we continue to use computers for learning purposes instead of a knowledgeable teacher. Computers have not educated our children, and testing scores have slowly plummeted since that time. Computers and data centers have EMF radiation, which cause health issues for children. Children's brains are not fully developed and have thinner skulls. This makes them more susceptible to health issues such as headaches, fatigue, sleep disorders, and even tumors and cardiovascular abnormalities. Furthermore, 90% of teens will use social media, creating anxiety and depression. Data centers create power through diesel generators, which pollutes the air with nitrogen dioxide and tiny particles that cause breathing problems, and if you already have issues, it will exacerbate them. Currently, there is an increase in asthma and COPD. Oftentimes, city councils are told data centers will create jobs, and initially during the actual construction, this is true. However, after completed, a large data center functions with 5 people. After construction, many problems occur, such as aquifers, the water underground, is destroyed or reduced. Data centers require a lot of water to cool down. The wildlife in the area are affected with a lot of problems we face. Moreover, water bills will increase, and our own drinking water will be affected. Why do we need all these data centers? To collect data on every individual, even children. One has to ask, is this constitutional? Doesn't the Fourth Amendment state we are secure from unreasonable search and seizures? Is this going to increase or decrease government? And is this morally correct for the general population? Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you, public speakers. Moving on to our next item, comments by individual board members. Mr. Kirchhoffer, we'll work our way down. Any comments? No? Ms. Parker?
I'm good.
Mr. Silva?
Yeah, I'll defer to the later on.
Mr. Scarfo?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one thing that we saw an email today. Congratulations to our 9 high school students from, I think they came from Tosceta High School, Summer Creek High School, and Kingwood High School, being named to the Chronicles High School Sports 100 list for 25-26. That's pretty amazing that we had almost 10% of the total. That's pretty dang good. And one of those things we should be trumpeting out there, that is a great place to go, but for lots of reasons. And I'll just say, Ms. Nicholson, is she still here? I'd say, I agree with everything you stated about libraries, about reading, and all of those things, and I think everybody on this table, I'm not going to speak for them, but I think they'd all agree with that too. And as a matter of fact, and Mr. Rush, shut me down as soon as you think I'm crossing over. But actually, I've had conversations with Dr. Lee towards the end of the last school year that I thought it'd be important and be a good thing if we could have a couple of librarians rotate and be at those meetings to address questions. And I gotta stop. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Holmes?
Only thing I want to mention is I look forward to shaking all those summer school, high school graduates on Thursday. So again, to your families, you look forward to seeing you on Thursday and walking across that stage.
I have a couple. I wanted to thank Dr. Lee. When we look at industry-based certification, that in the 24-25 school year, we compiled 1,541 certificates. In the past school year, district-wide, that more than doubled to 3,171. So I want to say thank you to your team and your staff for the great work. Mr. Holmes, I want to say thank you for being a stand-up guy, quote unquote, from you. I'll continue to represent Humble ISD as the reason for representative at TASB and proud to do it. Thank you for standing up and appreciate you leading our way. Mr. Kirchhoffer, congratulations on your daughter, Brooke. She's just got hired by the Detroit Lions to be their public communications director of the Detroit Lions. So graduate of Atascocita High School, done well. And of course, mom and dad did well too. So. And she's not here tonight, but I have permission to say what I'm going to say about Ms. Shaw. Don't know if you know this, but you're going to know it. Her youngest child, she adopted from Africa. She's back there today having a reunion with the birth mother, birth father. I don't know about the birth father, but I know the birth mother. And last seen when she was 6 years old, doesn't remember her. But I'm glad I'm not there because I'd be sappy all over the place. But congratulations to Mrs. Shaw and Dr. Shaw for the selfless life they did. And now they're bringing that child back for a reunion. How cool is that? So thank you, Mrs. Shaw. With that, Mr. Superintendent, for your comments.
Well, I'm going to defer until Mr. Perkins and I and the team, we're going to do an instructional framework, information item, an update on the work that's been done this, really started last semester and through the summer. And so we'll defer to that. And do you know, before we meet again, the teachers will have reported back. Is that not how fast summer has gone? It's crazy. Yeah.
There is one particular teacher that is complaining to me often that they're going back on July 31st, a Friday. I don't know who voted for that. But anyway, okay, moving on to action items. Moving on to our next agenda item, action items from closed session. Item 4A, personal recommendations. Mr. Silva, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. President. I move to approve the administration's personnel recommendations as presented in closed session with addendum.
Second.
Any comments? See no comments. All those in favor? Passes unanimously, 6-0. Item 4B, rescind proposed non-renewal of employee term contracts and authorize resignation and release agreements. Mr. Silva, do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. President. I move to rescind the proposed non-renewal of Ms. Courtney Lindsay's and Ms. Connie Falcon's term contracts and authorize the superintendent to execute the resignation and release agreements as presented in closed session.
Second.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Okay, any comments? Seeing no comments, all those in favor? And it passes unanimously, 6-0. Okay, consent agenda. Moving to item 5A, our consent agenda. Does any trustee have an item they wish to pull from 5 Alpha to 5 Victor? Seeing none, all those in favor? Oh, do we have a second?
I have a motion for you, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you.
I move
This
to
time I did
approve consent agenda items 5A through 5V.
Do I have a second?
Second, but I appreciate you trying to
Thank you.
move things
Appreciate
along.
it. Any comments? Okay, all those in favor? All right, moving right along. Okay, moving to information items. Next is item 6A, the intruder detection audit report. Mr. Perkins?
I have no report tonight.
Okay. Update on board associations and committees. Does any of the trustees have any reports on your committees? Mr. Silva?
I want to do a quick update on the technology committee. We had a meeting on June 17th, open to the public like all of them are. I want to recognize our technology services department and just share real quickly with the board some of the important work they're doing this summer. Obviously, most of their work happens behind the scenes, but it does have a direct impact on teaching and learning in classrooms. So a couple of things. This summer, technology services is making major network improvements at Atascocita, Humble, Kingwood Park, and Summer Creek High Schools. One of the biggest upgrades is replacing older fiber with single-mode fiber. It's going to be greater bandwidth, faster performance, support much longer transmission distances. It's going to strengthen our high school networks for years to come. They're also replacing network switches and wireless access points to continuously monitor network traffic, automatically adjust to reduce bottlenecks, giving students and staff faster, more reliable internet experience. Several campuses received these upgrades during the past school year, and we'll continue to roll them out until every campus has been updated. They've also been hard at work preparing Foster Elementary for its opening this fall. Congratulations to Foster. Ensuring that those classrooms, offices, phones, wireless connectivity, instructional technology are ready for students and staff on the first day of school. In addition, that department is refreshing campus routers district-wide. They're helping keep those systems running efficiently. And all these projects are part of a long-term effort to build a faster, more reliable, more resilient network that supports teaching, learning, and district operations. So I want to give a huge thank you to Technology Services team, Chris Cummings and his team, for all the work that they've accomplished during the summer months to make sure our students and staff have the tech they need when school begins. Thank you.
Any other trustees, any comments? Okay, seeing none, moving on to item 6C.
Mention one thing.
Oh, absolutely, Doctor.
To kind of tie off of that, you had mentioned Foster Elementary, and we have an open house Tuesday, 3 to 6. So anyway, just a shout out to Jason and his team, because I did that position and I never got a school opened until the day before school is to start, I don't think. And so that's a big deal to have a school ready to go in end of June and July to give the staff an opportunity to go in there. So shout out to you and your team and the architect and the contractor and all to get that going. And it's a beautiful facility, and we hope you'll be able to make it by Tuesday. Thank you for letting me jump in there.
Thank you for that. Was excellent to hear.
Mr. President, I'll add that too, as building planning was involved with you seeing everything that happened. There was a number of curveballs too. So it wasn't like everything went along a smooth timeline. Not to mention the underground retention. That was a little bit of a curveball, and still, you're way ahead of schedule. So that's hats off to Tom and all you guys for what you did.
Any other comments? Okay. 6C, Humble ISD Leadership and Instructional Framework. Dr. Brown, I believe we have a presentation.
We do, and so I'd mentioned this during administrative comments. So Mr. Perkins is coming up, and so, the board had set goals last year, safety being obviously the top priority, and then student success, student achievement. And so we've been doing a lot of work on that over the last couple of years, and that continued. And, one of the next steps in that is an instructional framework, which is really common in public education, because what it does, it really provides a common language, shared expectations, especially around Tier 1 instruction. So what does good Tier 1 instruction look like? And so we've been having those discussions and been working on that and the framework. And so I think the principals and the teachers had some discussion on this June the 2nd. And then the principals and Mr. Perkins and the assistant superintendents and teaching and learning. I mean, there's just been a lot of people engaged in this work. And so that's been happening this summer. And it's been great. It's been great dialogue, great discussion. And so we're going to continue that work when the teachers return. So we wanted to share this with you all so you would have an idea. If you hear about it, so what is the instructional framework? And you hear teachers talking about it or principals talking about it, we want to make sure that you're aware of the work that's being done around, so what is good Tier 1 instruction? What's the vision around that? And so we've got some non-negotiables, and Mr. Perkins is going to walk you through that and how this came about. So, Mr. Perkins, I'll turn it over to you.
So good evening, and what Dr. Brown mentioned about developing it by a team, it was a complete team that developed the instructional framework and what we're calling the expectations that go along with that. So I'm going to walk us through a series of questions that you may have about the framework and about the expectations as we move forward. And that first question is, you heard Dr. Brown talk about why a framework. Then the next question is, well, why this framework? That's pictured there on the screen. And so there are some things that went into developing this framework. We did develop the framework you see there. They're pictured on the screen, and it was developed with some things in mind that we have up there. TEA. There's there's two frameworks that TEA uses to improve districts and improve schools. One of them being the Texas Effective Schools Framework and what they call the Effective District Framework. We used both of those documents. They're not just single documents. There are many pages and many components to both of those two different frameworks, and we wove them in and closely aligned them in building both our framework and our expectations that are going to go along with it. In addition to that, there's two books there that are two of the most respected books in school improvement work to be done. Robert Marzano's book that talks about, his book talks about a framework of 9 different research-based high-yield instructional strategies that we use to build off of ours. And Paul Brambrick's book, Leveraged Leadership, discusses how you use leadership capacity to improve teaching in the classroom and create great teachers by utilizing systems and processes campus-wide and district-wide for that matter. So once we used those resources to build a framework, we needed to refine it. Our campus administrators have been asking for a common language, a common framework. What does Tier 1 instruction look like across Humboldt ISD? They had been asking for the district to produce something like that, and this is a result of that. We did have their input in developing the framework. We also had teacher input that was developed as part of developing the framework. And in just a couple of pieces that we did do a survey to gather that teacher input, and I just want to highlight 2 important pieces I think came out of that survey. So when you ask teachers, would district-wide expectations improve student outcomes, 75% of the district's teachers that participated in the survey said that would improve student outcomes. And would an instructional framework improve student outcomes, 71% of teachers did say that a common district framework for instruction, common picture of what Tier 1 instruction looked like, would improve student outcomes. We also, we all know that the Stetson audit findings, this aligns with some of the findings within that report in regards to Tier 1 instruction for us. And so those were some of the things we used to develop the framework itself. So the next question, how does this framework come to life? And it comes to life with a set of what you might call expectations or non-negotiables. And what you see up there on the screen are 8 of those expectations or non-negotiables that we use and that we think help us define what good Tier 1 instruction looks like in the classroom. So with those 8, how do these non-negotiables or these expectations, how do they come to life, and what do they mean for a teacher in a classroom? And so that brought us to developing what we call focus guides for each of the 8 expectations. You have a folder that's sitting there in front of you. We had provided you the information prior to, but I felt it was important for you to have a hard copy of all of those about 32 pages worth of focus guides that you can see, so you can see the complete package for all 8 of the non-negotiables or expectations. And just quickly, what these do, the resources for our campus administrators, our instructional coaches, and our teachers is, you can see like what it looks like in the classroom, what it may not look like in the classroom, teacher behavior, student behaviors, what does it look like in planning, and then on the back side that we didn't show here, but is in your packet, it does, how does it connect to other non-negotiables, and what are some key terms so we can develop that common language across the entire district. So with those sets of what does Tier 1 instruction look like, that's our go at what does good Tier 1 instruction look like in the district. And so kind of our next question, so what do you do with these focus guides? And Dr. Brown's going to help us with what we do with those.
So as we work through these expectations for Tier 1 instruction, and we've been doing that with principals, and the instructional coaches will be involved, teachers and the like, especially when they come back and having these discussions. But how do you know? How do you measure it when you go in there? And so part of the information that we sent you is, which I just think is an amazing video of the surgeon who talked about the importance of coaching. and how even as an experienced surgeon, he hired a professor to come in and watch him do surgery and to provide feedback. And, at first as he was thinking about it, it's like, well, I don't really need that. I'm a professional, but he talks in this video about how valuable that's been to him to have someone come in and help him and coach, even though he's been doing this for years. And so that's what we want to do, and we want to provide that opportunity for our classroom teachers. And so when you see up there, SIBME and video reflection provide opportunities for teachers and leaders to engage in meaningful coaching. So there's a software program. Sci-Fair's been using it. I think, Terry, you said Klein's going to jump on this as well. So it's a software program that allows you to come in video, and then AI will help provide the analysis based upon what you feed it, which are these expectations, these 8 expectations. And it just gives our principal and the teacher an opportunity to sit down and watch and talk about that lesson. And when I think about this, I think about here we are getting ready to have athletics start and fine arts start, and they have been doing this for years. They video. Then they spend the next week watching that video. They video practices and they go inside and they talk about it and they watch it and how can we get better and what do we need to improve on and what did you see? And so that's what this is, and that's how we'll be working with our teachers and principals to engage in this. So all of our principals will have this software, and then we're going to pilot a few campuses with teachers as well, 5. And so we want to get the feedback from the teachers on this, and it's really just about coaching and helping us get better. When I go home from board meetings, I get that coaching from my wife because she watches this, and she'll say, well, you lean a little bit too much this way or that way, or, and so it really helps us all improve, and that's what it's about. And so I just wanted to share this with you because we're very excited about this, because if we're going to impact student growth and student success, which all the teachers want to do, then this is just one more tool in the toolbox to help us do that.
So then that next question is, what does an implementation plan look like for us? And so just to quickly talk to you about where we've been and where we're going, this talk started back in the fall semester, again, with our administrators asking us for a common picture of what Tier 1 instruction should look like. That developed in the fall semester of last year. In the spring semester, we started to put this framework and expectations together. We rolled it out to principals on May the 14th. Where we did a workshop for them. We rolled it out June the 2nd to all teachers in the district, and that was the individual building principals taking what we provided them on May the 14th and providing that to all the principals, all the teachers on June the 2nd. And that was kind of our day one soft launch. This is what it is going into the summer. Coming back after the summer now, we've already, on July the 7th, we did a deeper dive into the instructional framework and the first 4 expectations with our building principals. They're going to be delivering that to their teachers that week in August when we come back as part of the teacher in-service days, and that will be the official day 2. And again, that will be for a little deeper dive, providing them the resources, the professional development plans for the first 4 expectations, and then our long-term plan is to continue to provide them resources throughout the fall semester so that they can use professional development days that are built into the calendar already to then go to do a deeper dive into the remaining 4 expectations at that point, hoping by the first or second week in January to have this completely rolled out to all the teachers, all 8 of the expectations along with the focus guides. So with that, by implementing the framework and the expectations, I feel confident that we will accomplish our desired outcomes that we had when we started this project. I was 12 seconds over, Mr. Grabowski.
We got to work on that.
I looked a little too late to Billy's phone.
I'll get a call tomorrow.
There's some immediate feedback from me. I missed it by 12 seconds.
I thought it was
he
excellent,
stopped it at 15, but 10:15.
But don't go anywhere yet. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, no, I'm not going anywhere.
Goes against your account for the next time.
We'll take 15 seconds off in the next presentation.
Are there any questions? Mr. Kirchhoff? Mrs. Parker? Mrs. Silva? I don't even have to ask. Mr. Scarfo, you have the floor.
One thing I wanted to ask you, and you kind of touched on it, but a lot of this hinges on coaching for
Correct.
the staff, right, as you go down the line. And, successful coaching outcomes, the person coaching has to be seen as someone who really knows their stuff and has kind of been in the trenches. And we're going to rely on AI for some of the coaching too. So I think there could be, not from the early adopters and not saying everybody, but there'll be some people who might be a little hesitant to accept the AI coach too. So I'm sure you guys have thought about that, and I'm just getting to that, we are going to face that, because I think this is a great plan, and especially the 32-pager you gave us to look through. That was very enlightening and very well thought out, and a lot of rigor. But again, a lot of it's going to hinge on executing by the coach, because these are individuals. They're going to be coaching, So
It's going to be a learning experience for all of us in this year in doing the pilot program. All our, like Dr. Brown had mentioned, all of our campus administrators will have access to it and be able to use it. They will be working with the instructional coaches. Not this year. Not all the instructional coaches on every campus will have it. That's what we want to kind of go through a pilot year with just our campus administrators before we expand beyond that. But you're absolutely.
And then I think when AI does, AI will be part of this, obviously, in the analysis, but that still comes back to people coming down, sitting down, looking at it, and having those professional conversations.
yeah, I agree. You can't just have AI spit something out and say, "Here, read this."
We're not.
It's
Right. No, it's still
got to be a tool,
right.
And,
It's part of the process.
Our campus administrators will still be making the decisions.
Mr. Holmes, any questions?
Yeah, one, being in the AI and data center field, I like what we're doing. I also like what you just backed up with, is that it's still going to be some hands-on coaching, right? Can you speak on, which I thought was really neat, because I've went through the same training. I believe you guys did a training. It was similar to Crucial Conversations. Correct me if I'm wrong, Terry. I might be saying it wrong, but it was just being able to coach with empathy, but still being able to have the conversation, right? Because I think some of the feedback that I've received is with this new framework, we just want to make sure that we're not letting AI drive the process. It's complementary, right? It's
supplemental to the process.
Supplemental
That's
to the
exactly
process, right? Yeah, can you just touch on that? Because I think the training that you guys have, I don't know if the specific name, but it was around that.
I think the best way to say it is AI-assisted instructional analysis, because it will do some of the evidence-based descriptions for administrators to be able, like, let's just say, for example, that check for understanding is one of our 8 expectations, and that now how a teacher does that's going to be up to them, but check for understanding is one of those kind of non-negotiables, and so the AI will assist us, and it will pick up every time the teacher does a check for understanding within that video. It will tag that on a timeline, and where you can just click there and go back and watch that happened. Or if it didn't happen at all over a 15-minute observation, it will tell you that right up front as well too. So it will allow our administrators, when they're observing teachers in classrooms, to be able to pay more attention to what's going on rather than scripting everything, and what questions the teachers are asking and stuff like that. It'll be easy resource that when we sit down, our instructional coaches, administrators, when they sit down with teachers and have those empathetic sessions you were talking about how to get better, the evidence will be right there for us to quickly review, depending on which expectation we might be reviewing in that particular observation.
Thank you. Perfect. Spot on.
Major Perkins, I just want to say to everybody where we were and where we are. We're now TEKS aligned, teacher endorsed, both Bluebonnet Math, HMH RELA, and it's due to a lot of the leadership coming from you and everybody sitting in this room. So just thank you all for all the efforts you did, and hence the turnaround of the district.
Yes, sir. Team's doing great.
It's a team effort, absolutely. So thank you, everyone, for all of the work you've done. Thank you for your presentation.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions? Thank you. And yes, next time you get 9 hours and 48, 9 minutes and 48 seconds.
48. I'm not counting Billy's 15, it was 12.
Okay, item 6D, Financial Services Report. Any questions from the board regarding this item? Okay. Consideration of topics for future board business. Does anybody have a topic for future board business? Seeing none, the time is 6:46. This meeting is adjourned.